it's the proudest day and the proudest time in the seat of a rally car, because that day and that hour and those minutes, I got the bit between my teeth. You know, I really stood up and was counted and said, this is not getting away. I remember when we pulled on our helmets and Donald says to me, what are we doing? I said, we're going for gold, Barrett. That's all was said. I can still picture that run. That was just the best run ever.
Welcome along to Krunching Gears, the Rally Podcast, episode 36. Before we start, can you please like, share, comment, rate, all those things that make a huge difference, and thanks for all the feedback this last few weeks. It has been mind-blowing. Without further ado, Connor Edwards, you're very welcome along as always.
Kevin, thanks a million. Just probably getting to that time of year where there's less rallies on to talk about, but listen, delighted to be back.
Yeah, and what we have to talk about this week, I suppose, Rally Legends. We're going to catch up with some of the sights and sounds from Rally Legends. We'll also then look forward to the young and up and coming stars of the future. With some exciting young talent coming up through there. But without further ado, I think we need to start off with Rally Legends. I don't know where to begin. Kelly Rovenpera, Frank Kelly, Paolo Diana, Yari Matti, the cars, Lancia Delta S4s, 037s, Quattros. Every time I look at it online, I just get green with envy, I think.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I could see the video clips and the pictures coming through on Friday evening, and it was just like, oh my God.
Yes.
It was just drooling at the mouth. I've got a serious want on me now. Next year, I think.
That
it's
is
definitely
sure.
on the list of events to go to.
Yeah, it's it has to be up there on the bucket list.
Yeah.
Like it must be amazing standing just everywhere you turn. There's something else jaw dropping. Like it's a rally nerd's paradise. I think I think we fit into that category.
I know it definitely is, and interesting enough, Hyundai's ex team manager Andrea Adamo wrote a piece there this week to basically kind of suggesting this is what the WRC is missing. That it's bringing this spectacle, experience, and excitement to the fans, close to the fans. And he was more or less implying that that's what the WRC needs to be doing.
Yeah, like like the more people we talk to, this having a rally in the centre of a town, making it a part of the community, I think it's vital. We see it here in Ireland. Too many rallies, the service area is stuck away out in the back beyond, and it's almost impossible to get information sometimes where the stages is, or like, when you see the likes of Rally Legend, the way they embrace the crowds, what it brings to San Marino, it's on. I just think rallying has lost that sparkle, and I think something like that there just shows when it's managed properly, the buzz it can bring.
I suppose for a few years the issues around insurance and safety nearly got car clubs to the point where motor clubs to the point where they didn't want spectators, or made it as difficult as possible for spectators to go to the stages. But when you look at the international events and they have those super specials in the town, and the place is packed, and it's people who probably would not travel 2 miles down the road to go and see rally cars, but they'll come in when it's on their doorstep.
Yeah, and it's yes, there may be a bit of expense there, but like you're going to be able to recoup that through sponsorship, maybe even charging an entry fee. Like you need a few toilets, obviously, grandstands, that kind of thing, but like the publicity you'll get from that and the good feeling you get from that, I think would far outweigh the cost of it.
Yeah, you would think so. And again, a sport that is slowly, diminishing and becoming harder to run and harder to get events to take place, and the finance for events, etc. It needs a bit of spark. It needs a bit of publicity. It needs a bit of backing. It needs to get spectators back following it again.
Yeah, at least to capture the public's imagination. We think back to the 80s, yes, we have probably rose tinted glasses, but the Circuit Ireland was covered like 4 or 5 nights a week, on a half-hour program on mainstream television. Like, now we're hardly getting even anything at all now on TV at all. So there needs to be some
And
kind of something to reinvigorate the thing.
absolutely, if you think back to those days, you had a spectator special in Balmoral in Belfast, you had a spectator special in the RDS. Again, bringing it to the cities, and where probably the rally fan base doesn't really exist in any great number, and just bringing new people into the sport and giving them an opportunity to see the sport up close and personal.
Yeah, and that may then spark an interest, and attract new marshals or new officials and new competitors as well too, and potential sponsors. You're taking it to their doorstep as well. So, but anyway, enough of that. No point getting bogged down in that. Like rally legends, it's everything that we could dream of. Being rally nerds, it's just everything I've watched over the weekend or the last few days. It's just, as you talk about, has put the want on me. And one of those legends, I suppose, is our own homegrown Frank Kelly. So I caught up with Lauren yesterday to hear some of the tales. And I started off by asking her, is it all that appears on social media?
It is 10 times better than what you see online. There's nothing like actually being here. Now, the videos do make it look absolutely mental. And yes, it is just as mental as it looks in the videos. The first stage we did on Friday night, it doesn't start till about 7 or 8 o'clock in the evening. So it's already dark, and we headed off into the stage, and we come up over a hill, and you could see the glow of the flares in the distance and the fireworks already going off. And I said to Frank, I was like, look at that scene in front of you, and the hair starts down in the back of your neck because you're heading towards it. And then you come down, and even though you know how loud our car is, you can still hear the air horns and the cheers through your helmet on the outside of the car. They are just going absolutely ballistic. It is up. There's nothing like it. There's just absolutely nothing like it.
And like this is your sixth year in a row now. How did you get your dad convinced to go in the first place?
I'm sure he's told the story a few times before as well, but it wasn't really our first kind of foreign event was 2015 or 14 whenever we went to Trinidad and stuff. And after that, and the videos on YouTube, it kind of snowballed, and more rallies started inviting us out and whatever. But before it became sort of a normal thing for us to do, we were very wary about sending the car out somewhere, and can we trust somebody to look after the car when it's out there and blah, blah, blah. And one night over dinner, Frank was chatting about he got an email invite to this, he called it San Remo, which is a completely different event altogether. But he says, we've got an invite for this rally. It's called Rally Legends or something. And I looked at him, I was like, Rally Legends has invited you? And he was like, yeah. I looked through the email. He says, oh, they've been on to me this last couple of years. And I'm like, they've asked you like before and you haven't went. I was like, do you know how much of a big deal this event is? So showed him the videos on the YouTube and stuff of all the madness that it was. And I was like, this is the event to be going to, and you haven't took it up on the invite. So I made him take up the invite to go. And we eventually got there in 2017. But the hilarious thing is we went and didn't realize that we wouldn't be categorized in the competitive part of the rally, because there is actual competition going on.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there is a main field of the rally with like R5 cars and things like that, and their historic class and all that there. But when we went, we found out when we go abroad, a lot of rallies can't categorize our escort, whereas it's a popular thing in Ireland, the modified escort. They don't know what to do with it abroad, so they put us into the Legend Stars category, which is reserved for a lot of like Group A and Group B stuff. We're in along with the Lancia Deltas and the 037s and the Quattros and all that there. And realized we weren't going to be timed. And Frank was absolutely raging that we were not going to be competitive. He had brought full slick tires and everything, and he was ready to go and win the rally, and was absolutely nearly for going home when they told him he wouldn't. But whenever he realized, right, okay, we will just embrace this for what it is. And he had a few gravel tires on, because I think that year we had went out and did the Samsonas rally in Lithuania. So we had a few gravel tires left over, and we stuck them on and absolutely destroyed them and had the best crack. And we ran out of tires because he wasn't expecting to be sliding about so much. So he went to a local tire shop in very bad translated Italian, asked for shit tires, excuse my language, but he asked for shit tires. And the guy brought in the rally rims, and the guy went, "Oh no, not for a rally, not for a rally." And God, just put the shit tires on the rims. So stretch these Firestone tires out over the rims. And I swear to God, we have never slid about like it. If we touched the throttle at all, she was away. We had some crack trying, and the squealing of them. We have a video up on YouTube of the absolute squealing of these road tires with 350 brake going through them. God help them, we got our money's worth out of the tires. But, that's how we went the first year. And the first year was also some kind of Colin McRae tribute. So the likes of Loeb was there, Sebastian Ogier was there, the Solbergs were there. There was a lot of big names. So it was a very big event. We had never seen anything like it. It was as close to stepping into the Group B days as we've ever seen. Coming around a corner, and there's hundreds of thousands of people literally standing out to the white line in the middle of the road. And that's where the love for Rally Legend come from, because there's no other place like it to get that buzz of the mental fans that just have complete disregard for their own safety. They're just stand out and they're ripping the marker posts out from the side of the road and they're waving them about, and they have chainsaws going and stupid outfits on them and stuff. It is absolutely class.
Yeah, and like right from the get-go, we think that even the roundabout that's on the way into like the ramp on a Thursday night, like that has become part of the event. That's almost as important as the stage, isn't it, at this stage?
Yeah, that was a funny thing too. That was an unofficial Rally Legend tradition that I think who's the WRC driver that started it?
Gigi Galley, wasn't it?
Gigi Galley, that's it. His name just went out of my head there. And I think he kind of started the roundabout tradition. So the first year we went over the start ramp, and there was that many people that kind of just funneled us towards the roundabout. And Frank looked over at me, he goes, "Where are we going? Should we not be going that way to Park Ferme?" And I knew the crack, but he didn't. And he goes, "No, you're gonna have to go do donuts around this roundabout." And he started to panic. He's like, "Lauren, I'm not good at donuts. I'm not good at donuts. Look at the amount of people that stand around the roundabout and stand in the middle of the roundabout." He's like, "I can't do this." And we got up, and there was still public traffic going around this roundabout. And the crowd got out and stopped the public traffic and then said, "Right, away you go." So we did a couple of donuts around the roundabout and on off. And Frank was like, "Never again, never again." But then, because it was borderline insanity, so Rally Legend took it upon themselves to actually close the road and make it an official thing.
Right.
So for a couple of years there, they had the roundabout challenge where they selected maybe 20 crews or something. Unfortunately for Frank, we were always a part of them selected 20. And did donuts around the roundabout, and you were judged on how well you did the donuts, and then you progressed to the next round until there was eventually a winner and blah, blah, blah. We never got that far, but they did that. But then this year they changed it into like 2 little mini stages. So they had like just 1.5 kilometers sectioned off as an actual wee stage, which involved doing donuts around the roundabout and stuff. But that all happens on the Thursday evening, and then you're rallying all night on Friday, all day Saturday, and all day Sunday. So it becomes nearly a 4-day event, including this roundabout crack on the Thursday. But it's brilliant because there's the big rally village that has the start ramp and merchandise stands and all the big cars in there and historic cars that you can go look around, and then everybody's out, and there's literally must be, I don't know, 10,000 people crammed around this one little roundabout in San Marino. I always say, I wonder if the locals are trying to get somewhere and wonder what the hell's going on.
Could they get a loaf of bread or something? Can't get it.
Can you imagine if we closed off the big roundabout down from the Mount Erica and let the Kenny and Donegal and got two people to do donuts around it? It would be absolute pandemonium.
Yeah. And like I was looking at the videos there from this year. I think Frank has been up and going around the Dungannon roundabout there. He's perfecting these donuts now.
He always says he's not good at donuts, but I think he's bullshitting.
Oh, he's getting there.
He's getting the hang of them all right. He always says, look, if these things aren't planned, it'll go okay. It's whenever he thinks about it too much, then he's more likely to screw it up.
Overthink something.
If he arrives at a junction and pulls the handbrake and starts doing donuts, it's all right. We know. Come on, 6 years now. We know the crack about this roundabout, and we've been around it that many times now. I think it'd be bad if we hadn't got the hang of it by now.
For sure. And like Paolo Diana and the Fiat 131 and yourselves, you have become almost, a part of this event. Like you're one of the draws of the event. Like, what is it like being in that bubble? It must be some sensation.
It is unreal. It's nice as well that they see us together. This year, Paulo was first car on the road, and we were second car on the road. He is their local hero, and he's a hero everywhere. He's very good with social media, but like ourselves, we've just become these, I don't know, underdog clampets that just everybody loves because we have complete disregard for our cars. But no, he's a fantastic lad as well, and he's very, very little English, but we still have great crack together whenever we meet up. And as I say, being seated together is brilliant because we head off into the stage, and this last couple of years we've been the very first cars to go in, so we're getting the crowd all wound up as the first cars out, and they're out with the fireworks and the flares and stuff. And anybody who's Diana fans seem to be fans of us, and anybody who's fans of us seem to be fans of him as well. So, but they're very similar cars, really, the Fiat and the Escort, and we just throw them about very, very well. Diana throws it about a lot better than us, to be fair.
He takes it to the extreme, doesn't he?
He definitely takes it to the extreme.
And like you talked there about him being the local hero. Like, you see how that all that razzmatazz and all that. Like, for somebody that lives local to that must be some feeling to see. You talk about the thousands upon thousands of people descend in your hometown for such a great event. It must be brilliant.
Yeah. Well, he has fans. We're lucky, like ourselves, that we have fans everywhere across Europe and abroad. But even we came to say hello at his service area, and his service area is very professional. He has the boys working at the car for him, and he has a merchandise stand. There's always merchandise flying out everywhere. And we arrived in just to say hello, and we ended up being there for nearly 3/4 of an hour because it took us that long to get back to the car because that many people wanted photos and autographs whenever the two of us was in the same place. It's just it's still always a pinch me moment. Like Rally Legends, they say this is our 6th time doing it, but there's still, it never quiets down. They still haven't seemed to have got bored of us. No. So we arrive and there's still a sea of people that's lining up to get photos and have a look at the car and stuff, and it never gets old. That feeling never gets old when you're driving down past Rally Village and there's people shouting and cheering and egging you on to do a lock of revs and a burnout here and there, and the police allow it. It would be rude not to.
Yeah, and for yourself, like sitting in baby blue along with Frank there, like how is it surreal even for you, even still now 6 years later, that you're there are people shoving something into you to get signed? No, does that, you talk about the pinch me moment, is that still as surreal now as it was the first year?
It is. It's still a bit strange. People come to get photos now. Like, do you want me to take the photo? And they're like, no, we want you in the photo. I'm like, okay, that's no problem. My highlight from this weekend was a bunch of lads come with roadside marker posts, and they got me and Frank to autograph the marker posts. And I made Frank take a picture of us because I was like, that is absolutely class. I was like, San Marino has bound to have lost at least 50% of its marker posts this weekend between yokes hitting them and people ripping them out of the ground to take home as souvenirs.
And then,
it is absolutely brilliant. The absolute passion at Rally Legend for all the cars and for everybody, but it never gets old. It never gets old.
And like, I look at the videos and you see, you talked about like Lancias, Deltas, S4s, 037s. For like yourself as a rally fan, what is it like to stand there, look around and go, there's another Lancia over there, there's a Porsche over there, there's a World Rally car just driving past,
Yeah, you'll never get another rally that has much variety between modern cars and the old Group B stuff, and then there's abominations like ourselves, it's a modified Escort or Diana's Fiat. There's a bit of everything there. There's something for every rally fan. And it's cool for me, that never got to experience that era of cars, getting to go see them, for only ever seeing them on YouTube and videos and stuff, and now getting to go and look around. And some of them are the genuine cars from that era. There was a fella in a Lancia Delta who was running just behind us one of the years. I can't remember which year. I think it was maybe 18 or 19. And very little English as well, but we were looking at his car and it was a bit grubby looking. And Frank said, I think he'd give that thing a wash. And he eventually got talking to him and got talking enough to him. And he come back into the car and he said to me, I know why that car's not washed. That is still the dust on it from the Safari Rally in 1987. And that part of the car is still cable tied from the roadside repairs. That is how she left, and like that is just amazing that they're still out being rallied and they're not sitting in a showroom somewhere.
Yeah.
And some of them are definitely not paying any respect to them. They are throwing them about, which is fantastic. You know,
it's like, isn't that what they were built for in the first place? Really,
exactly. For the rally fan that is my generation, you know, as young as I am, that never got to ever experience them cars. It is the sound of an Audi Quattro makes the hair stand on the back of my neck, and hearing that in real life is just absolutely class.
Absolutely brilliant. And then, you know, we're looking at this year. This is the first full year you've sat with Frank, you know, at rallies here at home, and you know you've been doing your tour events. You know, the tour events are probably a fantastic buzz. What is it like competing closer to home? You know, the likes of the West Cork or Donegal or these events. Do you still get a good kick out of those as well?
Oh, of course. A lot of people ask, you know, which do you prefer? But they can't be compared. They're two completely different things. Like Rally Legends, it is great to completely relax and go with the flow. Because we're not timed, we do kind of take the piss out of it, where we don't even bother going to any of the park fermies, and we don't go to half the regroups. Like I come home with every time card I got this weekend because we're not timed. Half the time the marshals don't want it.
Bother with you.
So any of the time cards I got, I've kept it. So that's how laxy daisy it is, and it is nice. And being here 6 years now, I know my way about to the stages and stuff, because they're always the same stages year in, year out. They might change the start every now and again, or they might change a bit in the middle, you know, but I generally know my way about, so I rarely even have to look at the road book. It is nice to be fully relaxed and just enjoy a rally and enjoy putting on a show and all that. But then at the same time, like we come here straight after the Escort Rally in Belgium, was our last event before here, where that was full on committed, full pace tarmac rallying. There's nothing like that either. Whenever you're so concentrated on firing out notes and you're doing 120 miles an hour down a tarmac road, and the difference in grip level is insane. That's really, really exciting too. Like, but that's what I mean. They're two totally different things. Rally at home, it's really special to me. Some of the rallies at home, like Donegal or West Cork or the Bushwhacker or something like that, places that I have always grew up watching. Dad come down the state, and then I'm in the car going past the same spot where I used to stand when I was 12 years old. And now 10 years later, I'm in the car. That's something very, very special to me. And
to have the opportunity to share it with your dad as well makes it even that bit more special, doesn't it, as well?
He keeps saying to me, go find someone who can actually drive. But that is, it'll probably not be anytime soon, but whenever Frank does eventually hang up his helmet competitively, I will, of course, go and sit with other people because I enjoy me rallying. But yeah, it is something special doing it with Dad, because there's that bond between us, and it's just easy, and it works, and it's convenient as well. You know, booking hotels and going abroad and stuff. At least, well, I hope he can stand me at this stage. I mean, we live together, we work together, and we rally together. I hope he doesn't get sick of me.
But you know, there's that almost natural trust there. You know, you don't even have to think about it. You know, you're trusting him, he's trusting you, and it's just a natural flow to it.
It's either that, or we haven't got a brain cell between us.
There's always that possibility. I didn't want to say that, but
you were thinking it, but I said it. No, Frank always says there's like this telepathic thing between us. Like it just works. It just clicks. Although I bet he never thought when he let me in for that one rally in 2015 that he wouldn't get me out again.
It all started in the Glens of Antrim, and here you are.
Yeah. Jesus, I was terrified that day, Kevin, because he never even told me we were doing that rally. He just come in like the night before and threw a book of pace notes in my lap. He says, "Go over them because you're doing the rally with me tomorrow." And it's probably all the better, because if he had warned me, I probably wouldn't have done it. And here I am, and I absolutely love it. And I don't know, I seem to be half good at calling notes. So no, it's my favorite thing in the world to do. It's just, and yeah, getting to share it with Dad, it's brilliant.
And like, you know, we're in October now at this stage. Is there any more events planned now for the rest of this year, or where's your thoughts at now at this stage?
Yes, I think we have 2 more events planned. We're definitely going to Portugal in November for another Rally Legend style event. And I think we have been talked into doing a rally the week after that in France. Although I think by the sound of it, we're going to be a 0 car.
Right.
because they can't
Category.
classify us to, yeah. So, but I think the sponsorship is coming together to do that. So why not?
Brilliant. Excellent. And like, you know, this is probably a really redundant or stupid question at this stage. Do you still get the same buzz every time you sit in Baby Blue as that Glens of Interim that day back in 2015? Is it still as big a thrill every time?
Absolutely. I still get the nervous butterflies heading to the first stage every time, and then once you set off and the rhythm gets in, it's all good. But no, it's fantastic. It'll never get old. It'll never. Anybody who's ever sat in a rally car will know that feeling. That it's and like I have a big passion for rallying anyway. I still love going out to watch some rallies if we're not doing them, or even a rally legend there. The last super special stage is around an industrial estate. And we do that 4 times throughout the weekend. And because it's so laxy-daisy, I let Mum get into the car instead. So Dad let me sit in the boot to go up to the stage, so I didn't have to walk, which gets a lot of laughs from people whenever we're going past. I'm hanging out the boot, getting my eyes stung to death by fuel. But that's grand. I hopped out and walked on up the stage to watch him go around the stage myself, and just it was nice to enjoy the atmosphere as well from the spectator point of view.
Mm-hmm.
No, it will never get old. It will never get old. That's why Dad's still rallying.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
So it'll never get old. He keeps saying he's gonna go historic next year. You know, get away from the 2.5 game. He reckons he's getting too old for that crap. I think the win the Ascot Special a few weeks ago begs to differ, but
yeah, the fire's still burning. And then to wrap things up, like whenever you look at rally legends this year, you had Kelly Rovanpera, Jari Matti, and all these other mega names in the sport. Like to have the current world champion there, and then all these cars, can it get any better? But I suppose we say that every year.
Yeah, no, look, rally legend. During COVID, it was one of the very few events that actually still went ahead during the COVID times, but it was quite downscaled. Even from obviously the spectators, people couldn't travel at that time and whatever. But we've noticed now this is like the first proper year that it's been back to its normal self, and it's great to see big names and things like that. We've been fortunate to meet a few of them at Rally Legends and stuff, or like Miko, this Hervanen has come over to do some rallies there in Ireland and stuff. I think we maybe met him first at Rally Legend and got him talked into coming over to do an Irish rally. But and we were fortunate enough to meet Kelly, not actually here. We met him whenever he came over to do the drift event in Ireland earlier in the year. And it's always funny that they know who we are. But they've seen it and they go, "Oh yeah, we've seen you on YouTube. You're the crazy guy with the blue Mark II Escort." It is always hilarious, and but no, they're great guys, and that's what makes Rally Legends special. Is you've everybody from the wee man like us up till the current WRC champion in all eras of cars. Rally Legend, if you haven't been, you're thinking about it, definitely go, because it is just something to experience once in your life.
So no doubt there that Lauren is definitely a chip off Frank's. There's no denying. The same mad sense of humor, and it's a pleasure to catch up with her. And then heading to Portugal, and that Rally Legend event in Portugal is looking very exciting as well too. So no doubt we'll be looking at that come closer to the time. Somebody else that was at Legends at the weekend was Kelly and Ronan from the Rally DNA podcast, and I thought we'd catch up with him just to hear how spectators how do you get there, what's it like, all that type of thing. As I say, Kelly, and you might not recognize the face, but you'll know the voice. Their podcast is Nerdville, and I'm sure they'll not be offended by me saying that. They are the level they can go into. It's always a joy to listen to, and the stories you hear are just something else. So again, the first question I asked Kellyanne was, is it everything we see online?
It's everything you see online and more, really, because it is the experience, it's the spectacle and soaking up the atmosphere, I think, which is really special. And even the stuff you don't see, that when you're wandering around service, like, there's no big videos of fellas, we spend as much time, crawling underneath cars and it's so open, which is the great thing, that it really brings it close to the fans. Like, you could spend as much time, you could sacrifice a couple of stages to get more time in service, no bother, and everyone's very willing to let you close up to the cars, and you see something next to you, you're on your hands and knees, or you're lying on your back underneath, looking at how the subframe is mounted onto an Accent WRC, and reading the rebound settings off the damper and stuff. The detail that you don't just get to see anywhere, really, you know. And the atmosphere and the spectacle and the setting as well. I mean, what a setting! Beautiful place to be rallying and watching rallying. So it all ties together in this great big package that you kind of owe it to yourself to go and witness at least once.
For sure. And like you talk about the setting, like the stages are almost like set up as an amphitheater. Like we look at you think of the hairpins, we think of the roundabouts. The whole area just seems to lend itself to rallying.
Yeah, I mean, and they do set it up very well, because you have these kind of classic stages up in the mountains that look like, pick a famous tarmac rally anywhere that you kind of, that could be a stage there. But then, as you say, those great kind of spectator stages in the industrial park. So I think you almost get too much footage of it online from the industrial park, that you might go, oh, it's just a rally around an industrial park. But there's more outside it as well. You definitely have to do that one as well. Mm-hmm. But and you have the roundabout stage at night there, the time challenge, they're going around. So it just brings it really close to people to make sure everyone can see it, because it can be, it's not that difficult to get to stages, but yourself, it's sometimes people are rushing for time. Mm-hmm. So there's an opportunity for everyone everywhere to do whatever they want to do with it.
Happy days. And like, from a practical point of view, what airport do you fly into, or that kind of thing, or is car hire expensive?
No, the overall is the package. I think people, I was chatting again to the missus last night when I got back, and she was just saying, I still can't get over how cheap it was. No doubt you could do it dearer. I don't know if you could do it cheaper than we did. And by no means were we doing it in absolute poverty or anything, So especially because coming from Ireland now, the access is getting even better, because they now fly from Cork to Milan. So no, Milan is a good bit away from it, but so we normally, the last 2 times I did it, we flew into Milan Bergamo from Dublin. So now we can fly out of Cork, which is obviously a lot nicer on this end of the journey. It's about 3.5 hours from Milan to Rimini or San Marino if you're staying in Rimini, which we were. But it's a fine, it's autostrada all the way. But what we've always done, or what I've always tried to do, is make sure you leave time on either one end or the other, because Italy has pile stoffer outside of Red Legend as well. So, and they're all very close to the same road. So like 10-minute detour off the motorway, you can get to Modena, Maranello, Imola, Sant'Agata, the Pagani factory. Then you've got the Alfa Romeo Museum in Milan. So you can break up your journey very nicely if you've given yourself enough time on either one end or the other, or do a mix of both. Like yesterday on the way home, we stopped at Enzo Ferrari's house and stopped at Imola, and there was GT3 cars going around the track at Imola. You can see the Senna Memorial and all the famous corners there. So they're about an hour apart from each other. So then by the time you're getting into the car to go to the airport, you're only another hour. So it breaks it up. So I don't mind the drive, and I'd rather do the drive on that end than have a longer drive when I get home, So car hire, very reasonable. Like we had a medium-sized car, a Hyundai Bayon or something like that. I'd never heard of it, but anyway, we all fit in it anyway. And it got driven very gently over the weekend.
Car hire company, take note.
So there was 5 of us stayed in one hotel. There's 2 lads next door, actually owned by the same hotel. So there's 7 of us all went over. It's 2 rental cars, but say for the 5 of us to travel kind of together, it worked out as between the flight from Cork. Although Jamie flew from the UK, obviously. So for me, it worked out flight from Cork, hotel, and rental car was €255.
Where would you go? Was it like it wouldn't take you to Donegal for like the 3 days, or to Galway, or even to West Cork or anything for that kind of money? You wouldn't get a look at.
Yeah. Absolutely not. I mean, that's your accommodation for if you're going to see an international rally at home. That's what your accommodation is at minimum, like more in most cases. Like over there, fuel is like we used, I guess, kind of 2.5 tanks of fuel over the course of the weekend. So whatever that was, I think it was kind of a 70 quid fill. We used 2.5 of them, so that's not too crazy. We threw money into a kitty for food and fuel, so 50 quid each into a kitty, food and fuel. That kind of saw us through most of the weekend. So that's all very reasonable. I mean, there's not much to argue with that. And
then if you're
where would you go?
If you're eating out again, it's just you can be as expensive or as cheap again as you want to be, probably as well there.
Pretty much. I mean, there isn't much opportunity to be sitting down in restaurants or whatever, but there's plenty of food vans and even on the stages there'll be just some lad with a table and grilling up sandwiches and sausages or whatever, and he's there €2 and you get your kind of sausage roll, and he has cool Moretti in the fridge plugged into a generator, like in the middle of the mountain, as well. But if you're down the service park, just food vans galore, and it's not, again, the Italians don't do bad food.
No.
So the food you're getting out of, the greasy service van is still, it's like restaurant quality, and it's not expensive. I think we sat down to dinner twice, the last night and first night or something like that, and even that was very reasonable, because we choose to stay in Rimini because it's so reasonable. It's only 20 minutes from the stages, and there's a lot more choice for accommodation. So the great thing about that is Rimini is like a holiday resort in the summer, but it's off season now, so everything is empty and most of the restaurants are closed, so there isn't a big choice to eat, but you'll find them all right.
Yeah, and that makes the hotels and Airbnbs a lot more reasonable when it's kind of out of season as well too, doesn't it? So.
Exactly, so that's why it's so affordable, because San Marino is quite small and doesn't have a lot to offer in accommodation, so that's naturally booked up quite early. And to be honest, like some of the areas in San Marino, it's as hard to get in and out of there to get onto the stages than it is to drive down the dual carriageway from Rimini. So it works out really the same. So yes, very, very easy to do and very affordable. And I think, over the course of the weekend, I'd say personally, even if I exclude buying jackets and t-shirts and hats where you tend to go a bit bloody mad, it probably costs 500 quid.
Yeah. It's reasonable for what you're experiencing, So,
oh yeah.
Sure.
Absolutely.
And then, getting back to the rally, like what, if you were to give somebody a checklist of things, the essential must-dos, what would you be putting on that there? If you're going to Rally Legends, these are the things you must do.
Okay, so I suppose a bit of that is make sure you have the time. So like I would say try to fly on the Thursday to make sure that you have the full day Friday, because the Friday, like there's a shakedown early on which we chose to skip, but it's about being in the rally village, being in the service park when all these cars will come back in, that you can get up close, get that face time, and everyone's very accommodating. They'll talk to you, that you can get yourself on your back underneath a 037, or look at underneath a Hyundai WRC, or talk to some of the guys on the stands. They put them all into the stadium then for Park Fermi, and they open that up. But before they do that, the service is fully open, so you can get to look at all those and kind of soak up that buzz and that vibe. And there's plenty of food and drink there available. There's crowds, there's music, so get that kind of, it's almost like a festival atmosphere, as it were. So make sure you spend enough time that you're not rushing through that you can just, because whatever plan you have when you go in that day, you say, I want to see this, this, and this. You're going to look around the corner and see something else. Whoa, yeah, and you're off. And you're running down there, because even some of like the road cars and recce cars that are over there are drawing you. Service fans, if you're a real weirdo that likes an old Iveco service fan, oh wow, it works, Iveco service fan in martini colors. Let's go look at that, and cool chase cars and things. So you're going to be distracted. You're a kid at Christmas, so give yourself the time to make sure you get to experience that properly. Definitely is the first off, and that you have that time. So I think fly on the Thursday is a good. Look, I get that won't always be depending on what leave you have or whatever. You can fly into Bologna as well, by the way, rather than Milan, which is a lot closer. But there is options. There's plenty of options. Although I believe the car hire is a bit dearer at Bologna. And get yourself well positioned then for the first night stage on the Friday. So they're both the stages on the Friday are night, and they run quite late into the night, and they will run late, or the timings are very I've spoken to the Kellys, because we were with the Kellys a good few times over the weekend. They'll kind of let you go whenever, because we were at the start line for one, and now you're watching the clock counting down, and you're going, all right, you kind of, all right, phone on now, I'll video this guy going off. Still there another 10 seconds, and then you're kind of waiting, and then they start waving at him, and off he goes. So make sure you get to a good spot on that Friday night stage, and it's well into the night. Just be prepared that you've got your essentials with you, because you won't get off it. But make sure to experience. You can get to the 2 Friday night stages, so there's an opportunity there to do 2, because there's quite a big regroup in between. So there is plenty of time. That will run well into the night. We got off the stage at 3 o'clock or 3:30 or something. So make sure you get to those. and then following on from that, then that you get the opportunity to get into your right good spot for the Saturday and kind of stay there. I guess I think it is a bit easier to do and commit to it. Now they'll run quite close to each other because of delays and things. There isn't much of an interruption, but a lot of those stages, if you pick them right, you can walk to different spots.
Oh yes, you
reasonably
get
easily.
good vacations within easy walking distance as such.
Yeah. Because then the stages don't change dramatically year to year. So if you've kind of done one and you look at your program from the year before or whatever, you can go, right, okay, I was there now. I was looking at photos from previous years that have the location tag and I'm sorry, we can get back to here handy enough and we can walk down to here. So that's definitely, but have everything you need with you, because when you are up on those mountain stages, yes, there's some guy with a grill or whatever, but plenty of water, sun cream, a few cans, whatever it is, and be prepared to give yourself the time and be prepared to run a little mad in terms of if you try and plan it to go right, I'm going to get here, then get here, and it's going to run. It's not going to run like clockwork. It isn't like a rally. It's not really running by the clock at all. So just be aware of that and be prepared to go with the flow.
Just take a chill pill basically and just enjoy what you're seeing.
Yeah, just be carried along with it. I think I've seen people get a little bit frustrated at how that goes. But I'd say kind of be prepared for that going in and just as I say, go with the flow, but make sure you have everything required and that you're not getting left out because you can't get off that stage at the time you wanted to, because it's probably going to be 2 hours later than you thought.
And we've seen this year, Kelly Rovanperä, Jari Matti, all these stars, the current world champion that doesn't get much better in rally terms. Who was the standout driver for you this weekend?
It seems like it's an easy answer now that you brought him up, but Rovanperä, it's very funny when you compare the two, both in Celica's, but Latvala went on to win the rally, but you could tell very much that Latvala was smooth, clean, he was on it, there was no fuss, there was no showboating, he was just on it. And then Rovanperä would come into a hairpin kind of backwards, and all 4 tires smoking up the road, do a donut, whatever, and he was very much showboating and putting on that show. And he was just incredible car control to witness in, a car quite far back. He's running quite a bit down the order as well. That really makes much of a difference. But he was very much a standout. Apart from that, I guess, look, Frank Kelly's great to watch there as always, and the fans love him. You hear him go, Kelly, 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 and they see him coming. And Deanna, Paul, Frank Kelly and Paolo Deanna very much putting on very similar kind of show. They're great. The two Audi S1 rallycross cars were incredible to witness. Just the sound, the car control, what you could do with one of those compared to an older rally car, I guess. There's a lot more scope to play with them.
Yes.
And seeing particularly them on the second running of the night stage, 4 glowing brake discs, blue flames out the back, you can kind of feel the air being displaced from them. They were incredible to watch. So definitely a big highlight for me.
And car-wise, we've seen, right from the 60s right up to the present day representative, listen to Rally DNA, we get it, you're kind of a Group A nerd. But, for the Group B guys, there was 205s, it was all that kind of thing, the Delta S4s. Where else in the world would you get it that you get such a range of cars? And some of the, a lot of them the drivers not scared to drive them, they are throwing them down the road. Obviously Group A very much kind of my thing. I'm a sucker for kind of front wheel drive maxis and things as well. But the Group B, not to say that I wouldn't like to, there was about 6 037s there, which is just having that number of cars in that car in one place alone is something pretty special. And there was one in particular, I think it was in the West, kind of tobacco colours. It was a little bit rattier, but I was driven hard. The problem with some of these kind of historic kind of show events is that, look, they're maybe being owned by kind of maybe an older chap or kind of gentleman driver. And obviously you don't want to break these cars, they're very wealthy, or they're very expensive rather to replace parts. So you can understand why people won't necessarily want to kind of hang the arse out of them a bit. But absolutely, there was a couple of those 037s driven hard. There was two of those S4s. Absolutely, you could see the difference in the guy who was kind of looking after and showing the car to everyone.
to the guy that was, broad sideways in the 037. And like, where would you see that? And as I say, that number of them in one place, and you can go right, like there's a car for everyone there,
Ah.
And the difference in how they were being driven across the field, yeah, fair enough, but you still got to see it.
Yeah.
And that's what's important, that the cars are out on stage.
Like,
and
that's
are
what we
being
have to
shown.
remember. Like these, like if you break a gearbox in an S4 or even an Impreza or whatever, if you could, like, it's not even if can you afford to fix it, it's can you even get the parts to fix it. It's probably like maybe only one or two parts around the world now to fix it, a gearbox for something like that.
Exactly. So that's the way, it's great either way. Like, I'd much rather see a 027 being driven slowly on stage than go look at one in a shed.
Yeah.
So, because I'm sure that has quite still the potential to go wrong or to break anyway. So it's still it's a really brave man then to
throw it down the road.
Yeah, exactly. But there was cars for everyone. I mean, where do you start with the car list? You could be here for the day.
Yeah.
As you say, the Group E machines there. There was a Pikes Peak Audi Quattro. There was an S1 E2. Was a replica, but a very good one. And he was certainly driving it on. 106 Maxis, which big fan of those. I was really taken with a Saxo Super 1600, Mark II Escorts of all kinds. 131 Abarth's Max Gerardo had his over, which is a really nice car. Sure, yeah, Group A Imprezas, Group A Galant VR4. There was two Galants. One was out of the rally quite early, unfortunately. They lost a wheel. They kind of hit a curb and it blew the wheel off on the Friday night, so unfortunately didn't get back going. Accent WRC car really, really like as well. Ex-Herven or Focus WRC. There's probably 3 or 4 Impreza WRCs, two-door ones, and two sort of S7 there as well. Ex-Burns car. So yeah, the guys in the Ladas, great to watch.
Yeah.
The Hungarian lads, they're always great lads to watch. Yeah, you could just keep going on and on and on. It doesn't matter what you're interested. If you're interested in rallying, you're going to like a lot of stuff anyway.
Yes.
But if you're a fan of a particular period,
it's all there and more. Yeah.
It's got you covered, and there'll be something to surprise you. Whole heaps of modern cars like R5s. There's 2017 spec Fiesta WRC, which I'd never seen before in the metal, so that was great. And a Citroen C3 WRC as well. And there was an i20 WRC, but it wasn't being driven, just on show. But it showed a lot about the caliber of car. We were saying that the i20 WRC was kind of shoved in the corner of the service park on the Sunday, and nobody was looking at it.
Nobody bothered that.
No. We're all fawning over Clio Maxis and things.
So to wrap things up then, if you could describe Rally Legends in one sentence, what would that sentence be?
Oh, that's a tough one now. I suppose big atmosphere, big crowds, big noise, and you just owe it to yourself as a rally fan to do it, really. I think it has to boil into that.
Killian, can't say much further than that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. Thanks for having me on. It's a great podcast, and keep up the good work.
Oh, listening to Killian, it's just made me want to go him even more. And on that note, Killian's actually said if anybody does want to reach out to him to get some advice or his thoughts or guidance with regard to going to Rally Legends and his hints and his tips, yeah, feel free to reach out either via Twitter, Instagram, or through the Rally DNA page. But yeah, I think I might be one of those people reaching out to him. And Kevin, then we also caught up with Ronan Comerford, one of our up-and-coming young stars at the moment. Certainly great interest in Ronan's career to date, and we're very curious to see how he's getting on and where he's going in his career. So we caught up with him earlier.
Yeah, I started off by asking him, what his plans were at the start of 22, and it snowballed from there.
Well, to be honest, I didn't plan to do half the events that I'd done. At the start of the year, it was just sort of, I know in the National we had planned to do it, and then applications opened at the end of last year for the Academy. So I applied for it, and I was successful then in March. It was actually just the week before we started the National Championship in Mayo. So it was a privilege to get into that, and since then it has opened many opportunities, and the experience that I've been getting so far this year from every member across every department, you could say, of the Academy has been fantastic. Also, like joining new drivers, Ryan who I sit with in the Mark II. We had planned on the national championship for that, so which we have now finished and we have done quite well in. And then I joined Joe Kelly from the Circuit of Munster, and joined them under a basis of like a long-term co-driver type. So I'll be working with him hopefully in 2023, and it just overall generally the year has been really good. There's been quite a few ups, quite a few downs, as there is with rallying. So generally overall it's been really, really good.
Yeah, like for me, I think one of the highlights is, Joe won in the European Rally Trophy, the junior section of it. And like you played your part in that as well. I know you come a wee bit late to the party, but like for Joe in only, still very early stages of his career, that's a fantastic achievement.
Yeah, it's been really good now. As I say, I only joined Joe in Munster, which we used it as a warm-up for Donegal. So it was basically the ERT Trophy Junior, which he won. And I was very happy to have played a part in getting him to winning it. I know Kenny Bustard and Shane Byrne were in the first couple of events with him. And then I come along. So we've all played our part, and it's been great that he's actually a year younger than me. So we're a good age to be partnering together and moving up the ranks.
For sure, because we expect big things of Joe in the coming years now. And then, Banna Beach is coming up now at the end of the month. And there's another new name to Irish rallying that's not familiar to many, I would say.
Yeah, true. I received a message a couple of weeks ago about that, and we have been in talks, and it came through just the other day. And I'm very happy to be sitting in with Ashley. Ashley's South African, and he has done many WRC events. He's done a couple of American events. He's done South African, and he's done a French championship in his Peugeot, and that's the car that we'll be using in Banna. So we've been having talks back and forward and planning and using schedules and stuff. So we're getting to know each other a bit more before the event, and then at least then our work would be a wee bit easier then when we go to the event.
Yeah, and that's probably one of the advantages of, you were saying earlier about with the MI Academy, you've been jumping in with different drivers. Like that holds no fear to you now. You can jump in with somebody, you build up that relationship online first before you get, but whenever you get to meet Ashley, then it'll be natural when you get into the car. There'll be no fears there.
No, it'll not be any fear. Thankfully, fear nothing plays a part. If it did, I don't think I would be doing it. But no, listen, the academy has done so much for me. It's first of all heightened my understanding of the overall co-driver, because my father was a co-driver for 15 plus years and still is. He sort of took a wee bit of a backseat because I'm coming along now. So the support from him as well. As the academy, as I say, the members of it, I know Alan, Sean and John for a start, for keeping the whole thing running and putting their trust in us to do it. And Alan is in the background doing our fitness, and Gemma and Daniel then with nutrition. So we're getting a load of aspects there that is a privilege to be getting, because it's not something that everybody would get, and to have all that behind you as well, it makes it a lot easier. And it makes you want to, well, it makes me anyway, want to push on, because I know the support's there.
For sure. And then, when you have mentors, the likes of Paul Nagel, like Rory Kennedy, you have guys who have, are at the top of their game, and who are and have been the best in the business. To have them to, if you need to pick up the phone or whatever, that's, not many sports have that opportunity.
Yeah, very true. I know I've worked with James O'Brien and Rory and Greg on the development days that we would do as co-drivers. I know we have our own development days where we all come together, but some days we just have the co-drivers days, and we sit down and go through timing, which is a major factor of it, and get our, they give us scenarios and they give us different things that would happen in real life, and depending on how we do and what we're at and what our knowledge and understanding is, then they pick it up from there, and we just give it our all,
I think, in footballing terms, it's like having Roy Keane to show you how to do something. You know, it's. I think it's unprecedented. I think it's a fantastic opportunity for guys like yourself at such a young age to have that knowledge that you can tap into at any time.
It is, and just to not too many, as you say, can just pick up the phone and have the personal numbers for them all. But it's something that is never taken for granted. It's a privilege for me to be able to do it. I think my love for the sport as well has been a big factor, because it's just what I live and breathe. So you know, whenever I'm sort of interested in something, I'll do well at it and push myself to do well. So this is one of it.
Yeah, and something you have a passion for. It's not hard work. It's something you want to do, and it's, you know, you push yourself and you thrive on it, don't you? And you're in that
very
zone.
true. Yeah, very true. That's how I think of it anyway.
Yeah, and then as I mentioned, Banna Beach now coming up now at the end of the month. Have you any other plans now for the rest of this year, or is the focus already on 2023?
Well, no other plans. I actually head to Spain to the WRC now. I'm going out to do a bit of shadowing and get a bit of an understanding as to how that works. I know quite a lot of the academy members are out there at the minute and taking part in the event, so it'd be nice to be able to go over to them and see behind the scenes and see how it all works as well. In regards to other events, I'm not planning on doing anything else. I didn't actually plan on doing Banna at all until I got the messages and a couple of phone calls. So next year is going to be good. There's a couple of things in the pipeline which we just haven't confirmed yet. As I say, it will most likely be with Joe as we continue another year of an assault at something. But as to what we're going to do, I'm not too sure yet. But it will be all released before Christmas or in the new year, hopefully anyway.
Excellent. And, you know, no doubt we'll catch up and we'll hear all about it then. So, Ronan, it was an absolute privilege to hear your story so far. And I have no doubt at all in the coming years, we'll be hearing a lot more of this name coming up through the sport.
Well, hopefully that's the way it goes. But I don't do it on my own. It's the people that's behind me, my mother, my father, my family, friends, and especially people in the academy, all play a huge part. And it might be big and it might be small, but their part is very much valued, and I thank them very much for that.
Yeah, you know, they're allowing you the time to go and do this, and you know, we always see the glamour side of rallying, you know, sitting in the car, but that's not. There's a lot more involved. You know, it's the sitting at home at night going through DVDs. It's the going through the schedules. You know, that nobody sees the unglamorous side of the sport, and you know, to allow you the time to do that, that means a lot.
It does, and as you say, the preparation is key. I have a very good, well, it's not my own saying, but it's a saying that would be heard a lot. It's feel to prepare, prepare to feel. So I tell myself that quite a bit. Basically, if I don't do it, I'm never going to get to where I want to be. So it's an extra incentive actually, and as I say, it's no bother to me because I love it. I love the sport. I love to do it. So it just sort of all flows naturally. But knowing and understanding a lot of the rules and regulations is half the battle as well. So you just have to keep yourself refreshed and all of that as well.
So pleasure there to catch up with Ronan, and you know, wishing them all the best in Spain now at the weekend. That sounds very interesting, you know, like to get that experience at that age, you know. And you know, we keep going on about the youth and the how bright a future Irish rallying has. Another one of those names coming up, like, is Jack Brennan. Like, this guy only turned 17. He has won the Junior 1000 category. He has done 2 rallies, but I have no doubt this is going to be a name we're going to watch for in the future, you know. So I started off by asking him how he got involved in rallying.
Well, since as young as I can remember, really, I've been brought to rallies and watched my father navigating with in World Rally cars and stuff. So it was from a really young age, I was always brought to rallying, and every Sunday going off to see rallying, and it was just there's a big rallying community around where I live here in South Kilkenny, so it's always been everyone around here goes rallying, and it's kind of like a big rallying family down here. So I was always brought up with it really from a young age.
And like being a Kilkenny man, then it wasn't a hurling stick; it was a steering wheel you wanted in your hands.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I wasn't too great at hurling, so I said I'd try rallying instead.
So, like, you won the Junior 1000s this year. Like, what a fantastic championship that is, given, you know, the likes of yourself, time on the gravel, you know, even before you can drive in the roads.
Yeah, look, mainly for the J1000, the road mileage you get as compared to a single stage event as regards like a rally sprint or something like that. Like the mileage is just unbelievable, and for to be running at the front of the field, really, with you're running in a main rally, and we run first on the road in the forestry to get the best of the road. So they really do accommodate for us really in the rallies, and it's just like to start so young with, I think the age now is 14, you can start at and be able to go out and drive a rally stage. It's unbelievable, like how much experience and seat time and mileage you get out of everything.
Because you get the full rally, it's not even half the stages, right? You are getting the full accompaniment of stages, the same as car number one on the road.
Yeah, exactly. We're getting all the stages, all the stages the big cars do. So it's it's an unbelievable championship. It's a great idea, and it's after bringing on so many people in Irish rally and just who started from J1000. It's great.
Yeah, you think of the likes of Wal Crichton, Josh McErlean, just, Kyle White, they all come up through the Junior 1000 Championship in Northern Ireland. And even then, you even think of like Alfyn Evans started out in the Junior 1000, like a number of years ago. So it just shows you the sky's the limit with this.
Oh yeah, like when you look at the likes of Josh and Will and all them, like it's unbelievable to think that they started in the J1000 and then look at them now, they're all out doing the World Championship, and it's unreal how a small championship can bring you so far into their stage where they are now.
Mm-hmm. And they it was mainly tar they were on as well, and you're getting this gravel experience. I think it's an absolutely brilliant chance. So then now this year you've turned the age, now you're allowed to drive on the roads, and you done Bolton Glass was your first event. How did you find that? Were you nervous? Were you daunted by the experience?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was nervous, to be fair. Like it was the first time driving a left-hand drive car. Really was the biggest thing, and just a lot of stuff I was really I wasn't used to, the likes of going recce and having a look at the road before you, like in the forestry we don't get a recce, so it's just watching the DVD and from Killian Duffy, and it was all different left-hand drive and the first time on proper Irish tarmac roads, and it was all a learning curve really. Like we set out at the start of the weekend, said look, we'll take our time, we'll build our pace throughout the rally, and we 100% we want to get to the finish, because just for everything and the way it all came together, we really wanted to get a finish in the rally, and we did. So it was a massive learning curve, and I was delighted now to finish Bolton last, and it was just an unbelievable experience.
Yeah, and left-hand drive, like if you want to progress in your career, you have to go left-hand drive. And I suppose it's like everyone else, it's like learning to ride a bike. Once you get used to it, it'll become more natural.
Yeah, like I didn't towards the end of the day, I was kind of getting more used to it, as in regards just building up your speed, especially through the likes of chicanes and stuff, where you kind of had to position yourself on the road. But no, by the end of the day, I built a lot of confidence. All the nerves were gone, and it was just I really enjoyed the rally.
And then for your second rally, you go to Sardinia. It's not the usual route. Like, what a brilliant chance. 2 days of rallying, so even better, loads more seat time as well.
Yeah, like with Sardinia, it was a shock at first, really, because I didn't really see it happening or coming until I was on a flight away to Sardinia on very early Wednesday morning, and it all kind of came a bit quick. It probably didn't hit me until I did land, but no, Sardinia was an unbelievable experience. I didn't dream of having that experience of doing a European rally for definitely 3-4 years at the least. But no, Sardinia was it was unbelievable just to get out there and see all the European rounds, and it was just it was unreal. The roads, and I suppose making pace notes were probably the two hardest things to get used to, because I never would have made my own pace notes before, and look, the people around me made it a small bit easier for me. Like navigator John McGrath, who's just I couldn't thank him enough for Sardinia, for helping me make notes, and just the experience that man carries to sit in a car with me is just unbelievable. Like he sat in with some of the best men in the country, and I genuinely couldn't thank him enough for all he helped me for in all the J1000 and especially Sardinia, because I was very new to making my own notes, and we made them, and by the end of the the end of the two or three passes we had of him, I was happy. And then when I used him in the rally, I kind of got more confident throughout the whole rally that I was able to trust my own pace notes more. And no, it was just it was a surreal experience, really. It didn't hit me until I was after landing on the plane that I was doing what I was doing.
Yeah, and then you come away with Crystal at the end of the rally too. Like so, like
Yeah.
that has to be a good 2 days rallying, really, isn't it?
Yeah, like it was hard. It was a hard I hadn't really experienced an event that long before, and then on the Saturday evening we had 3 stages in the dark, so there was a lot of there was a lot of new things brought into that rallying. But look, I just took everything as it come, and I slowly progressed on in the speed, and especially the car I was driving, like the 208 R2, like the Rally 5 car in Bottendas was a big step up from the J1000, but the R2 was a complete different ball game, step up again. So no, look, by the end of the weekend, I was getting more confident, and with that, they're two very different cars, the Rally 5 and the 208. That the Rally 5 is turbocharged and the 208 is not. So you really have to rev the 208 out to get the maximum out of it. And it took me a couple of stages just to get that into my head that you have to drive harder just to get the most out of the car. But
Yes.
no, by the end of the rally, I was more happy with my times, and I was feeling more comfortable in the car. And yeah, it was just it was unreal.
Yeah, I think all those things that you talk about, night stages, making your own pace notes. That's something that most drivers are maybe 2-3 years down the line. But I think that will stand to you, because the sooner I think it's a bit like the left-hand drive. The sooner you start to do them things, the more easy they become. It's not, in a year's time you're going, oh no, I have to drive in the dark. I have never done that before. You've done it now. You've made your own notes. I would say the next rally you do, you'll probably be more confident. You probably will make your own notes rather than revert back to like pace notes again.
Yeah, well, like for whatever rally I do next, if it's tarmac or anything, I will be making my own notes. Like it'd be hard to go back to let's say buying pace notes and adjusting them yourself again. So no, I think I will stick to it now just for I nearly prefer to make my own notes for just for myself, really. Just moving forward, I would prefer to make my own notes. So like you were saying, Kevin, the younger you start, the more easier it'll become over time.
For sure. And then, like looking forward, have you anything more planned this year, or are you sort of like in your mind's eye looking forward to next year already?
Well, for this year, I still have 2 rounds of the Motorsport Ireland Junior Rally Series left. One in the Rally Sprint in Carrick-on-Shore in 3 weeks' time, and then the last round is in December in Mondello, and that's in the J1000 car. And I have 1 round left of the Autocross Championship then in the Carcross Bowie in Burr at the end of November. So yeah, still have a fair bit to do this year.
Yeah. And that autocross championship, like you're the first, somebody so young has never won a round of it, and not only have you won a round, you've won the championship as well. Like that's a fantastic achievement at your age.
Yeah, we have that championship won, and we're going to Burr just to see out the championship, because just to finish out the championship, because the autocross is I think it's great, really, the autocross championship. And yeah, it was unbelievable to win one. Never mind the championship. I never thought that day would come, really, just because of when I was 8 and 9. My father bought a Carcross buggy, and I was in awe of all these buggies going around. And I said I'd love to do that someday, and to win one then it was just special, really.
And then looking forward, you see yourself coming, like in the years to come. You want to be rallying more. You look at the Motorsport Ireland Academy. We mentioned earlier on there Josh McLean, Wal Crichton. You can see where that academy can take you. There's so many opportunities now for somebody like yourself coming up through now.
Yeah, like this country, as in the last couple of years, for young drivers to progress and learn through the Motorsport Ireland Academy, and all these opportunities that are coming up for young people is unbelievable, that maybe weren't there in the past and are there now. Like it's unreal. And no, the Motorsport Ireland Academy is is great, and if you ever got to be accepted to it, it would be unbelievable. But I know the opportunities for young people in this country nowadays is unbelievable to progress and learn and move on in their career.
Yeah, it shows like, we're quite quick at putting ourselves down in this country, but it shows that our talent can go and take on the world and have nothing to fear. You think of Craig Breen, Chris Meek, those guys have went to the world stage and showed they're every bit as capable and every bit as good as somebody from Finland or somebody from France or whatever. We have the talent here, and we need to shout more about it, don't we, really?
Yeah, exactly. Like I was saying, the opportunities that are coming from this country, like Craig being a perfect example, he's in the World Championship now with M Sport, and it just goes to show what drivers can come from this country with the right recruitment and the right tools put into you, really.
For sure, for sure. And then, to wrap things up, you want to progress in rally. Where would you like to see yourself in 5 years' time? We look at Kelly Rovanperä, at 22 years of age, a world champion. Would you like to, keep progressing up the ladder yourself?
I would, yeah, but it's I had things in my head from when I was young. I'd love to do a European rally. I'd love to go to Europe and do stuff, but I suppose that some bits of that are after happening already, and it's just the experience was unbelievable. To come this young and do it is unbelievable. But no, look, the opportunities for young people in this country are unbelievable. So we'll have to take it as it comes and hopefully progress on each year and see where we end up.
I really do think, the future of rallying in this country is in safe hands, and we have such amazing young talent coming up through. So, and it's good to hear from them as well too. This weekend coming, Rally Spain, the penultimate round of the WRC. The driver's title is decided, but there's still a lot to play for going into the weekend, Connor.
Absolutely. Obviously, as you say, the driver's title's done and dusted. We've got the manufacturer's title, which could be wrapped up potentially, although possibly it could go to the final round in Japan. But another title that's of interest is the WRC2 Junior co-driver title. And the man of the hour, James Fulton, is, a good run on Spain, and he's clinched that title. So he's certainly under the microscope at the moment for moving to partner Craig Breen, and potentially will have this title under his belt when he does so.
Wouldn't that be class? We're all about promoting the Irish talent, and to have a world champion in our midst as well, that will be fantastic, really it is, So we wish him all the best at the weekend.
We do, and it adds credibility to his move to partner Craig as well.
Without a doubt, yeah. As you say, it's another tick off the the list of things you always want an accolade, and what better accolade than a world champion, so that is for sure. And then the main teams, hard to look past Toyota, but then you never know how they can surprise us. They've had a few good rallies there. I know New Zealand didn't go quite according to plan, but it's hard to look past Toyota, I think. And Rovanperä now has the World Championship and below his belt. He may be relaxing off the leash almost.
Potentially, yeah. I mean, when you look at the speed that Tanak had and Neville had in Belgium, and again on tarmac, and again in Croatia, they were, when they were still struggling a bit more with the setup of that car, they were still putting in some good time. So I wouldn't rule them out for potentially taking a Spanish win. Although they're going to have, I would think, an unleashed Ogier to compete with. I think Ogier certainly possibly held back in New Zealand, but I can't see him holding back in Spain.
Rovanperä off the leash, Ogier off the leash. Evans was something to prove. He's still, he has been dogged with bad luck, misfortune, whatever you want to call it, all year. He is going to have a point to prove there. I find it very difficult to look past Toyota in some shape or form. But as you say, Hyundai, Tanak undoubtedly has the speed. Neville and Tarmac, if everyone's right, if he finds the sweet spot, he can be frighteningly fast as well.
And maybe a bit more to prove than Toyota have as well. There's obviously things aren't smooth in that team yet. Hyundai, they're still trying to get themselves together and plan for next year, and obviously they're interviewing at the moment for that third seat, who's going to hold it. So maybe, Tanak and Neuville have points to prove themselves, and will be looking for the win out of Spain.
Absolutely, absolutely. And then, M Sport, our own Craig Breen, without a doubt, like he's going to be wanting a strong performance. Yeah, he's had we talk about misfortune and bad luck. He's had his fair rub of bad luck. So at some point, his luck has to change. And what better event to do it? On Paul's last event.
Absolutely, there's that bit of extra incentive for him. Also, the Puma's pretty decent on tarmac, and you got to remember it's first win. Okay, maybe with a bit of black ice, but Monte Carlo is pretty much an asphalt rally. And the Puma was mighty quick on that. So yeah, if it all comes together for M Sport, absolutely they could have a decent run in Spain, but it's kind of, you just don't want to jinx them.
No, that's for sure. That's for sure. And it's almost going to be a home event for them as well. Like the amount of Irish that seem to be travelling out to Spain in the next day or so, it's frightening. And I think I'm going to only one left here. I'll put off the lights and I'm going to bed. I think because there's going to be nobody else here.
Yeah. I think you're going to be pretty lonely there. All right, there. From what I hear, there's a huge contingent, but we've also got quite a bit of competitors going out there as well. You've Josh McErlane. With James Fulton, we've William Crichton with Liam Regan, they're out in the Hyundai. You've Grace O'Brien, Ryan Caldwell, Aoife Rafferty, Jay Coleman, Adam Kofi are out there as well. Some of them are just doing recce now as opposed to actually competing. And then also you have Kyle McBride, who's doing a bit of servicing for Cacers. So
yeah, it's brilliant to see. The Irish involvement goes right from the your Rally 1 cars right down throughout the field, and then even in through the service park and all. We keep saying this, but we have so much to shout about and to praise, and that's what this podcast has always been about, is promoting how good this wee country is.
Absolutely, and don't forget Aaron Johnson. Again, a good result here with Takamoto will help. They've had a phenomenal year. That New Zealand was their first kind of blip. So potentially, again, they could have a strong result.
Yeah, and Japan still to come, but I think that for mainland Europe and on our time zone as such, this is probably as close as we're going to get. We're not going to sit up half the night trying to watch the results come in from Japan. Well, some of us might. But I think that this is as close. If the championships all get wrapped up here, Japan might lose a wee bit of the sparkle. But we know how unpredictable Spain can be. In dry weather, flat out, yes, but a wee shower of rain or threats of rain can just change it up and change it around so quickly.
It can, but even without the rain, like in the past, if you actually look at most of the incidents, it's been when it's been dry. OJ ripping the wheel off in the polo when he was on for the win, which allowed Mickelson to take it. What was that, 2015 or 2016? Yeah, Takamoto last year, very innocent. Mishearing a note, and boom, that was him gone. He was out. So, it's amazing. A lot of because of the high speeds. Spain can catch you out and it can bite in the dry.
Because as you say, they're going so fast, and the limit of adhesion. Sometimes they just that wee fraction over, and it just can get away from. And there's obviously it develops a racing line as well. And if they go off that, there's muck or whatever dragged out, and they can get onto it, and the car's it's gone, and that's it, isn't it? So.
Absolutely. Sure. If you remember, Calais, Rovenpera was making cuts and had to do a very deep cut last year and just about got away with it.
That's for sure. That is for sure. And one final thing, but I suppose before we wrap up completely, is Michael McDaid and Declan Casey in the Wyodine Rally at the weekend. They finished 6th overall, not only first historic car home, but first two-wheel drive car home. And it leaves them in a very strong position now for the Welsh Historic Championship, going into the last round now in the Cambrian now in a couple of weeks' time. So fingers crossed that goes well for them, because they're in a good position in the Welsh Historic and the BRDDA Historic Championship. So lads, we're all rooting for you here. So that was episode 36. So please like, share, comment, rate, all those things make a huge difference. So until the next time, speak soon, take care, and bye.
Yeah.